Welcome, guys, to Women, Wine and Wisdom. I'm Naomi.
I'm Jimmy.
And today we have two guests for you. We've got Chris and we've got Prince, who you might remember from a previous episode.
And today we're going to be talking about masculine and feminine energy, as Chris said. But we're going to just jump straight into it because we've all been kind of trying to fight each other already.
Hold on, Jimmy, before you lot jump in, I just want to show you something. I came back from Nigeria. I didn't have space in my suitcase, but here you go.
Oh, look at that.
So we're going to, because you don't like the wine and stuff, and this is my favourite one. It's for you lot.
Oh, thank
you.
you.
It's dope.
So sweet.
So sweet.
It's so cute.
Thank you.
A Moscato. Hey, you guys are like
that.
this.
Rosé.
It's actually decent, isn't it?
I've had this before. This is lovely.
had it
This is
before as
actually like one of my faves. So thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Pink Moscato. If you haven't tried it, definitely get yourself a bottle.
So just also please learn from that, guys. Masculine energy, feminine energy is receiving. Just
Also
saying.
showing me up because I couldn't
Yeah.
stand it. So I'm like,
But did you hear our voices? We went, oh.
he could have told me
became
he was
soft.
doing it.
He didn't.
I could have bought something.
He said, "No, let me show him out."
That's it. Let me keep the glory for this one.
So that leads us straight into our conversations.
Okay, yeah. So let's kick it off, guys. What do you describe as masculine and feminine energy?
That's a great question. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, go.
All right, cool. So I think the logical or the society's term is like masculine energy is more like assertive, goal-driven,
Yeah.
clear-minded, logical. And I think feminine energy is described as like collaborative. It's more like creative, that kind of side. But I think in our culture,
Okay.
we've defined it differently. I think in our culture, masculine energy is like, you're just like the man of the household. Because how I described it before was, you can be both creative and you can be gentle and stuff as a man and a woman. And you can also be goal-driven as a man and a woman, which is
Yeah, of
masculine
course.
feminine energy. But in our culture, if someone says to another man, oh, he's got feminine energy, you know, you're not talking about he's got creative, you're not saying that. You're just saying he's soft,
Yes.
submissive. I think that's how we've defined it in our culture. And the masculine energy is like, he's the alpha male, as they quote unquote. He knows how to control the room. He knows how to be a leader, and he kind of coaches his team as well. Which I would say, to be honest, in that definition, both me and my brother have that, and a lot of our people in our circle have that. Like if you see us, no one's really shy. But we're all vocal. We know how to say things with our chest. So I think it depends on how we define it for this podcast. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. I feel like genuinely though, most times I feel like women associate masculine energy as the alpha male, because when you like just think about a group of men, you normally pick out the alpha male. Do you know what I mean? So as you've described, like you said, you and your boys. So this is a debate I was having the other day with another group of guys, and they were basically saying that different men are alpha males in different situations. But as a woman, for example, I probably wouldn't pick that up. I would probably see you guys once and I see who the alpha male is, and in my head, that's who the alpha male is.
Right.
In that situation.
And is that who you
Interesting.
would tend to gravitate to?
Me personally, no. I like quiet people. Not necessarily quiet people. I like alpha males, but I like men that are... So I find like if you're overly showy, for example, or overly talking, I actually associate that with a feminine trait.
Facts.
As a woman. So I don't actually... So not necessarily...
So there's, when it comes to the whole alphas and that whole hierarchy situation.
Yeah.
And one of my good friends actually educated me. So I'm not the most enlightened when it comes to, I need to do my own research. But Hefty was telling me, like, you got alphas, you got
Betas.
gammas, you got betas, etc. For example, gammas are alphas in their own rights. They're just not the showy, loud person.
Yeah. So that's probably where I would kind of, maybe in the middle of the alpha and the gamma. Maybe in the middle of that.
But I think, like you said, you walk into a situation once and you see the person who is loud, outlandish,
It's
vocal, and it's like, oh, well,
He
that's
must be the one that's...
Yeah.
not
But it's the same way
necessarily.
when you see women, for example, when you see a group of women, you judge them straight away, right? You don't just think...
Based on what, though?
You tell me. What do you judge women based on when you first see them?
Yeah, what would you
It
class
depends,
them?
though. What are you talking about in terms of attraction, or are you talking about in just generally?
Well, let's strip it back. How would you describe a feminine woman?
Yeah.
Okay. For me, femininity is not just a how you are outwardly, it's inwardly as well.
Okay.
So
I like
for me,
that.
I prefer feminine women. I prefer women who know how to carry themselves.
Okay.
Know how to quote unquote behave.
Yeah.
And that's not me trying to be controlling in any way,
Yeah, of
shape, or form.
course.
It's just I like women who are gentle, who are girly, who are able to take care of their guy, knows how to take care of their household, who knows how to cook, who's caring. If I'm sick, for example, I can be a big baby.
Most men, but
You know what I'm saying?
Every man.
literally.
What you want to do is you want to lie on your woman. You want her to hold you. All that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Femininity. That's what I class as a feminine woman. You know?
Okay.
So
Someone who's also supportive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who
So
knows how
could
to
you not
build you up.
date a non-feminine woman?
I just wouldn't. I don't like masculine women. I don't like women who are too have too much of that sort of energy.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, and what would you describe as masculine traits in a woman? Just before we ask you what feminine woman is,
So being a feminine woman doesn't mean you don't question me or you don't have your own opinions.
Yes.
I'm trying to say it's how you put that across.
Yeah.
And one thing I'll say is women in life, you can get whatever you want from a guy. It depends how you go about it. Feminine women know how to get what they want. Because, for example, say you want me to do something and you say, Prince, why haven't you done this? Blah, 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 blah. You're gonna get the complete opposite reaction to what you want.
Backed up
babes,
already.
how's your day? This, that, and the other. Oh, did you get around to doing this for me? Oh, shit, babe, I forgot. Let me sort it out right now. Two completely different reactions.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you describe as a feminine woman?
I think very similar. I think it's someone who's submissive to, and they like to cater to their man as well.
Okay. Let's just hold that submissive thought, because me and you've spoken about this before, Nay, and we'll come back to that. So submissive.
Yeah, I'll say submissive. Someone like Prince said as well, caring. But I think one of the main things I look for from femininity from a woman is also how they present themselves.
Yeah.
Right. Like, do you carry yourself like a woman, or do you carry yourself like my man them in ends?
I'm so finished.
Like, sometimes I've seen it a lot of the times when someone's with someone and you can tell the girl doesn't want to let him lead.
Okay.
She doesn't want to allow herself to be in a relationship where the man is actually the one that's calling majority, not all the shots, but calling the majority of the shots. But then they will say, I want a man who can do all that stuff. But when the time presents itself, they're not allowing it to happen.
Do you feel like that's because the man isn't allowing them to relax in their feminine energy?
And that's what I was going to go on to.
And I was about to ask that as well.
I was going to ask on the masculine side, right? So what's for masculine energy is, are you able to allow that woman to be soft in your environment? Are you allowing her to be submissive in that environment? Or is she getting up and hustling for you? Like, are you the one, is she the breadwinner? Is she the one that's taking care of the household? Is she the one that's doing everything? Then of course she can't be feminine, because she's taking care of you.
Yeah.
And most of the time we find a lot of women in that situation, and that's why they don't allow the man to lead. But most women, whether you are feminine in terms of completely girly, or you're an ambitious woman, or you're an independent woman, or you've gone through any trauma, most women will become submissive if the man that she's dating is outmanning her. If she feels like she's doing more than he can bring to the table, there is no way she's going to allow him to lead.
Unless it's already
Don't trust
ingrained
him.
for whatever reason.
That is true, and that's a trauma thing, and that's up to the woman to, obviously heal, go to therapy, talk to your friends.
But that's the thing. I think I don't think a lot of women notice that they're in their masculine energy until it's probably until you meet a man
who G-checks you.
Exactly.
But also, you guys, and I'm sorry if I'm a blanket statement, but a lot of women have a negative connotation to submissive.
Yes, and
I agree.
And the thing is, it's interesting because when we talked about good woman versus right woman, I said submissive as the right woman.
Yeah.
And you had a counter to that, remember? Because you was like, you don't think submissive goes with the good woman, it goes with the right woman. I feel like women are picking who they're submissive to. But he's got to be bringing that masculine, quote unquote, energy to the table for you to be submissive.
100%.
Like we've spoken about in previous episodes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that we do on our own. That doesn't mean I can't be submissive. I'm more than happy to be submissive.
Yeah.
And, do you see what I mean? But he needs to come correct.
So what's
if he
correct?
can't come correct,
What's coming correct to you?
for me, I feel like coming correct is you're acting on your potential. So you're actually doing what you say you're going to do. You're a man of your word. You make good financial decisions. I can rely on you. If I have an issue and you're not the first person that I want to call, or maybe the second or third, even fifth, that's not going to work.
Where would you rank that? Because with masculine energy, would you say it's someone who's living their potential? Then you said the financial part. Where would you kind of rank what you just said just now? Where they can call you? What priority I'll put you in?
Oh, what priority? So this is going to sound awful, but finances is a high priority. I know we want all pretend and we want to be like, oh yeah, like no, maternity leave is not that great. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually terrible.
Yeah, it's not that great.
And it's a real thing.
The likelihood is a lot of women don't want to go back to work within the having a child and then 3 months later being back in work. So financial responsibility is extremely important. If you're making bad financial decisions by yourself, then you're probably not going to be the man for me, because I'm not making terrible financial decisions by myself. If I want to do bad, I'll do it by myself. Let me not drag somebody along with me.
Somebody else is going to send me.
Yeah, it's going to drag with me.
Can I counteract that
course.
statement, please? Yeah, because I've been broke longer than I've had money for, right? But I've always had the confidence to go and try things.
Yeah.
Right. And I would look at masculine energy as I'm going to go out there, I'm going to fail. Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to lead by example, not you go and do it and tell me if it works. And so luckily we actually have one of my mentors on here as well. And I found that the masculine energy came before the money came.
Yeah.
Because and I feel like a lot of women gravitated towards how I was behaving because they knew I was going to get there eventually, because I didn't care.
Yeah.
But if you rank finances high, I know people who make money or who have inherited money and they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, and that's true, but I do feel like that's an age thing. So for example, that as in from a woman's perspective, it might be an age thing, because everything you've described, I've talked about this before: consistency, dedication, discipline, risk taking. All those things are extremely important. But I would view them differently. So for example, let's say I was 22. I'm more than happy to date somebody that's like with potential and can build and can do that. You have to realize that there's many men that are not like you. You know what I mean? And they're not like Prince, and they can go out there and be like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And all they've done to me is speak. No,
but not action anything.
No action. Do you know what I mean? There's no risk taking, no dedication, no consistency. It's just mouth. And I think that's the difference. So at 22, I might date you for your potential. At 32, I'm going to be questioning it a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's a good point, because you hit the nail on the head, right? At 22, you have time on your side, right? So why at that age would you say you wasn't able to meet? Was it just the pool just wasn't?
To be honest,
there?
If I'm completely honest with you, at 22, I don't really think I was ready. Let me be honest. I'm going to be outright honest and say at 22, I still think I was kind of figuring myself out, figuring out that masculine and feminine energy and where I sat. So for me, I would say I had more masculine energy when I was younger and just kind of growing up, and I feel maybe in the last couple years it's kind of changed and calmed down and a little like
Do you
shifted
think that's
a little
been
bit.
a bit of a hindrance? Do you wish you were educated more so then?
Absolutely. I feel like if I had known more about how to be in my feminine energy, that don't get me wrong though, I think it's life circumstances that have made me that way.
Yeah.
But if I knew what I know now back then and what I would educate my own daughter on, feminine energy would be high up on that list.
All the way. Yeah.
High up on that list.
That's the thing. I do feel like, going back to what you mentioned, I do feel like, and you actually, circumstances, how people have been brought up have impacted a lot of women in our generation on relaxing in their masculine energy rather than their feminine energy.
Yeah.
A lot of people in our generation have had to witness their mothers being single mothers and, doing a job and balancing looking after kids, doing it all
one parent,
together.
2 roles, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so for a lot of women who are in our generation, they feel like they have to work just as hard as their parents because that's what they saw growing up.
Yep.
And so a lot of women in our generation are striving to own businesses, go to work, be, high in their careers because they don't want the same struggle life that their mother went through. But then by doing that,
we're creating it.
You're creating the masculine energy.
Yeah.
But then I mentioned it to you before that I didn't realize that I was in my masculine energy until I met my partner. And he was just like, you need
Calm down.
You need to get into your feminine energy. And, but over time it was a trust process because I needed to trust that he could provide and do what he, do you know what I mean? What I expected from a man. And, you know, but I think it has impacted our generation massively. A lot of the females in our generation, I don't know many females who relax in their feminine energy because they're just not in the position. Well, I think because of upbringing, but also because of the partners, they probably don't feel so comfortable to relax in that. And they think the life that they've got is very normal.
Yeah, I agree. But then I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about my friends, and I'm like, the ones that are in their feminine energy, like completely, they grew up to a completely different way to the way in which we grew up. And I definitely learn a lot from them because I'm like, we grew up differently. Okay, fair enough. But the way in which we were raised, we were kind of, not necessarily we were kind of raised, but most of us would have been raised off of survival, I want to say. Yeah. Whereas for them, they're raised off of love, giving, receiving. Yes. It's a completely different energy. Yeah. But how do we shift from that? How do you shift from the masculine energy into the feminine?
But I don't think I understand how you were brought up. Yeah. Can be a contributory factor to how you behave outwardly. Yeah. I don't think that's the be all and end all though. Just because you were raised a certain kind of way doesn't necessarily negate the fact that, you know, you've chosen to outwardly show a masculine side of you.
But the thing is that I don't think a lot of people realize that they're in their masculine energy.
And that's where it comes to self-awareness, right? Yeah. I think that's the problem with, I can only speak for our community and our culture. I think a lot of people just, how they perceive themselves is different to how everyone else around them perceives themselves. For example, if I was to ask you, Jimmy, now, would you say you're a good friend?
Yeah, I would say yeah.
Okay, cool. Would you say you're a good friend?
Yeah, I'd like to think so.
And would you say you're a good friend? Amazing. You see, and this is one of the things that I was actually like taught. Like, it's hard for you to define if you're a good friend. You have to ask your friends.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones who are going to be able to judge you and say, are you a good friend? Yeah. Like, if I say I'm an amazing husband, then you ask my wife, he's like, oh, he's all right. Yeah. How can I say I'm an amazing husband? So I think it's self-awareness.
And be able to take criticism.
And be able to take self-criticism, constructive criticism from the right people as well. Yeah. I think that's masculine energy. Knowing who to take advice from, because the amount of people that have told me, and I remember when I was speaking to Prince and one of my other brothers, Tactics, about like investments and stuff. And then they were telling me what I should do, things that you shouldn't do. And I was researching books and that. Then when I was looking at people who weren't financially stable, and they were telling me, if I was you, I would have bought a Range by now. Why even take it public transport? You know, like that. And I'm thinking, but who's that for? Masculine energy is being able to be like, no one around me agrees with me, but I know this is my path.
Okay.
And that's like self-reflection and self-awareness.
100%. And I feel like guys, as men in your masculine energy, right? We are held accountable for our actions daily. Yeah. Facts. Women aren't necessarily held to that same standard.
Do you know what? Guys always say this, but I do agree, but I want to know why they think that.
Do you know what? My take on it, and I know this is correct me if I'm wrong. Well, it's my opinion. But the way I always see it is that as man and wife, you play a joint role, right? But your responsibilities are totally different. And so if a family fails, I feel like they'll look at the man before they look at the woman. And so just
100%.
But it's his fault though. 100%. The family fails.
Yeah.
Really?
If our household fails, I'm held accountable. Yeah. No one's speaking to her to say what happened, what did you do, this, that, it's me. What did you do? Why did you not keep this household intact?
100%.
That's a fact.
Yeah, they will look at the man. And that's the thing, it's like when you think of, you know, if a family, for example, is struggling financially, and they may see that like the children, you know, looking scruffy or whatever, they'll probably look at the man and be like, okay, financially you're not supporting your family. But then if they're looking at the kids and they look malnourished, they're looking at the woman and saying, you're not cooking, you're not fed. Like if they see
the hair's messy or something.
Yeah, so like if they see the husband and he looks like he is just withdrawn and just disheveled. Thank you. They're gonna they're gonna be like, your wife is not taking care of you.
Absolutely, she's not.
So it goes back to what I was saying earlier. I feel like man and woman play, you know, they're equal partners, but they play different roles and responsibilities. Facts. And the kind of like metaphor I use to describe it is like football. Because I know you lot watch football. We go.
Well, men as well. Football. Thank you.
So
thank you.
Men and women. But you know, you have the striker, but you have the defender and the goalkeepers. If the striker can be running up and down and scoring all the goals. But if the goalkeeper and the defenders are not defending that goal,
Doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter. You can still lose 10-8. 10-8? Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So ultimately, you know, everyone plays their role. And they win as a team.
The thing, no, I agree. I do agree. But the thing is, do you actually ever feel like relationships are fully balanced in terms of when you say, because
Not at all.
yeah, the reason why I say that is because, we can bring, so for example, we can cook, clean, whatever it is that we're doing. Yeah, the man's coming home. But things change in relationships. Reality is different. Like, I might be working till late today.
Oh, no, of course.
Do you see what I mean? So, like, things are going to change. So, in relationships, again, when we're bringing something to the table, what is it that, for example, you guys need? Like, what do you need from that relationship?
Okay.
That's a great question.
I think it's a difficult question, though, because I think in different parts of your life, it will vary.
Your accomplishments are your accomplishments. They're great.
Yes.
In theory. Don't mean anything to me.
Okay.
Right?
Can we just highlight that, please?
Your money, more time, I vouch for that. Your money means not. You see when girls, women start to like, oh, I do this and I've got this and I do.
Yeah.
You know, in my head, it goes in one ear and it comes out the other. I'm gonna help. I'm gonna help push your business. I'm gonna help push you to be great, of course, because we're a couple. But your money is normally is your money.
Yeah.
And my money is our money.
That's
so that to me doesn't even really impress me.
But that's the thing. We were talking about it earlier because we were saying how our parents were like, don't lead with your accomplishments. Yeah.
So if I was to, like, even as we were talking about doing like dating mistakes, one of our episodes, again, please watch, but don't lead with your accomplishments when you're talking to, there's no point because he's just not interested. You don't care.
Exactly. But then the thing is, as a woman growing up, you almost thought, oh my gosh, I've bought a property. It's a great achievement.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I say something? Why wouldn't I share that with people?
I would be pleased for you though.
No, but that's the thing. But this is where there's a misunderstanding from a lot of females.
You're pleased for us, but that's where it starts and ends.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? Like you said, my money's my money, your money's our money.
Normally.
You're not really spending my money. You're not really like getting anything off my achievement. But women do get like, not necessarily do get, but you get bragging rights if your man's doing really well for himself. It's like, he's doing this, but are you going to be like, oh yeah, my woman's a kindergarten, she's a CEO. Not really, but you're going to be like, have you seen the way she looks today? Do you see what he's wearing?
We went to a Chris Rock show, right? And then he made that joke that said, when you tell your man them you've got a girlfriend, they ask, what does she look like?
Yeah, because
they do not care about her job, status or anything.
Yeah.
But then when a girl says, I've got a boyfriend, they ask, what does he do?
Straight up. How much money does he make?
That is it. Can he financially support your dreams?
Absolutely.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And even in relationships, I don't even really like my partner spending money on me. And it's more so
that was it.
I know.
I don't really like my partner, full stop.
I was like, wait a minute, where's this going?
I don't really like my partner. No, I don't really like them spending money on me. And I think it's more of a trust issue thing as well that I've had. Like, I just don't want anyone to come back and throw a thing in my face. I did this for you, and that for you.
Yeah.
Not to say that anyone would, but I tend to like to just finance my own life.
But that's really interesting because you expect a woman to be submissive to you, but then the vulnerability aspect of her, for example, gifting you kind of lack there. Why is that?
My take's different. For me, it's not the same reasons. For me, it's if I really want something, I'll get it for myself.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas, and my wife does it. It's amazing that she does, but she'll pick up on things that she might hear me saying to somebody or whatever, and she'll get it for me. Yeah. And I'm like, but I was talking about it. I really wasn't going to get it.
But you still like the fact that she got you the gift.
But it's also a grand that you didn't necessarily need to spend.
So what kind of
I
gestures
would
you like?
spend that on her. It's not, and I would feel no way about it. But for me, it's just like I just don't really need it, And if I really wanted it,
you could get yourself. But you know the thing is as well, a lot of women. Well, I say a lot of women, which is probably not true, but if there's a lot of things that they want, they could probably get it themselves. But it's just nicer when someone else gets it for you.
Yeah, for you guys. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Well, I was actually talking about, for example, a couple of days ago with the missus. Mother's Day for her is like a thing. Because she's a new mother. It means a lot, cards, gift, making a day of it. And she asked me how do I feel about Father's Day. I said, it's nice.
I'm so finished.
It's nice, you know what I mean?
It's so different.
But I don't feel like you need to do the whole buying me something and this, that, and the other. Do you know what I mean?
I'm definitely doing that.
It's nice if you do it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna appreciate it. I'm glad that my wife and my kid value me.
Yeah.
But you don't have to make a big, huge fuss.
Yeah.
The card from the little one a separate card from the missus. I don't need 2 cards.
Do you
know what
feel
it
like
is?
the success of your family, like the fact that your wife is happy, your baby's
That's
happy,
my responsibility.
is that your
That's my responsibility.
but it does,
Yeah.
is that what you see as your gift? Is that what you see as your
100%. The household
Yeah.
live and dies with me. If they're happy, provided for, that's my role is being fulfilled.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's the difference between the masculine and the feminine energy, because basically you've literally just described it. So masculine energy is obviously not as receiving, feminine energy is. So I get that. That makes sense to me as to why you would say that. And I do find a lot of men say that.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting one.
Just
Are
to
you-
add to his
you
point,
asked-
I agree with you though,
Oh, go on.
because I think a man's only as happy as his most unhappiest family member, immediate family member. So if the kid is unhappy, he can only be as happy as the most unhappiest child in his family. Because imagine your family's in disarray, no matter how much money you're making, whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If your wife's unhappy or your kid's unhappy, you can never really truly be happy.
And that is
probably-
actually kind of true.
And that's why we
Yeah.
probably sacrifice
Yeah.
our own happiness, and we don't feel like you should spend on us, because the money you're spending, we're just thinking how we're going to recoup that to put it back in our savings.
And that's a
I
fact.
see.
And that's
That
it.
is a
I
big,
see.
big fact. Like, how do I put it? You as a man of the house, whatever it is, right? Family guy, you're constantly, there's a myriad of things that's going through your head constantly.
Yeah.
Finances, whether you're, like you said, your family's happy, nursery for the kid,
Yeah.
this, what we're going to be doing in 2 years' time, that holiday that we're planning to go on. You're constantly under a certain amount of pressure.
Okay. Do you like this pressure, by the way? Because I'm actually
Yeah.
curious to know. I want to know, like, because some men thrive in this pressure,
And some
men
crumble.
crumble.
They don't like it
So,
at
like,
all.
It's part and parcel. It's just something you have to deal with. And let me just finish what I was gonna say. Right, I've been asking male friends of mine,
Yeah.
like, how do you feel as a man? Do you feel like you have somebody to talk to?
Yeah.
One, do you feel like you have somebody to talk to?
Okay.
And who will be receiving of that? And 2, do you think people, society, care about you? The reason I've been saying this, I've been asking this question, is because the response, the overarching response for most guys is most people don't really care about how I feel.
Yeah. I'm not
Do you know what I mean?
surprised.
Most men feel like society doesn't really care how men feel.
It's only cool on social media, really.
You know what I'm trying to say? And then
bad,
secondly, only a fraction, probably half of the guys, maybe less, feel like they have someone who they can talk to, who they can genuinely have a conversation and have either be able to vent or get a solution.
Okay.
Interesting, because I was going to actually say with I feel like a lot of men in our generation as well weren't brought up by their fathers, and so how has that impacted your masculine energy?
I was waiting because you know when you said earlier about how you've seen people with one parent, one woman, so you pick up that energy, right?
Yeah.
So if there's no man, how do you pick up masculine energy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is why I think a lot of the men them are tapped, and I'll tell you why they're tapped.
Oh dear.
Do you want to elaborate on what that means?
That means, yeah.
I was like,
No, because
but no.
because you know what? I think like a lot of men don't know how to be men, and it's okay to say, I never had a man in the household, so I'm going to learn it myself, and I'm going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
But what the problem is that they pretend they know how to be men, and they try to throw around this whole alpha male energy,
Popping bottles in the club.
Yeah, exactly. But they don't actually have the masculine energy characteristics,
The traits, yeah.
the traits that you need to be. And that's what I did, right? It's because same as you just said, one mother. My thing was, who is it that is doing what I want to do? And then go and ask
Emulate
them for
that.
advice.
Yeah.
That's how simple it was for me.
Yeah.
Like my brother, Prince, Tactics. There's a couple handful. They're doing things that I want to do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask them questions. How did you do that? I even pay you to teach me.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of men are like, they're taking things from their mother, which they're now emulating in relationships.
Okay.
So they're using, rather than thinking logical, they're thinking emotional. Oh, she did this, so I'm going to do this.
And that erodes your masculine energy.
That's not
Because
your
a woman
level.
cannot really teach a man how to be a man.
Yeah.
No,
I
it
agree.
can't.
happen.
You have to
I
get
agree.
a mentor who
Yeah.
is, I'm sorry, who is a like for like figure.
Yeah.
Can we just
And that's-
let's
I was
explain
gonna
why do we
go-
why because we all agreed on that. Why do we feel like a woman can't teach a man how to be a
I feel
masculine?
because I'm a
be
female,
masculine,
right?
yeah.
And I mean, I know that for sure.
Is it, babe?
Yeah, are you?
Is it?
But I know for a fact that I can only assume what it's like to be a man.
Yeah, that's it.
I will never understand fully what it is like to be a man. Likewise, a man can never fully understand what it is to be a female.
Facts.
Yeah.
And so I feel mothers do their best, and kudos to all the single mothers out there, because wherever you are, you're amazing. You're doing a great job.
Mama, I love you.
But they can't.
P.O.P.
They just these two, they couldn't help themselves.
Don't mind them.
But the fact of the matter is, we're not men. And so we would never really understand what it takes to handle certain things as a man. And you touched on a very good point about bringing in mentors. And I think more, if you are a single mother raising sons, it'd probably be like advisable to go out and find male mentors that you respect, that you'd love your sons to look up to, and put them in that place to help with your raising your sons.
Because you see, why they don't do it is because what we said, how we define masculine and feminine energy in this podcast, the mother's in her masculine energy. So now she's too ego driven to go and ask for help from another man to say, can you help give advice? Or can you be a godfather to my child so he knows what a man's supposed to be like?
Yeah. But the thing is,
and this is why we are in the way we are.
Yeah,
but you know what's interesting about that? Because what Chris is describing, what he's talking about, is actually how Chris has been. As long as I've known you, he's sought out mentors who can teach and develop him, and that's why he's moved as quickly as he has. For me, I've never really had a mentor. I've had to figure shit out
yourself,
myself.
And
when I was about to get married, I think I might have even mentioned it to you. I didn't know how to be a husband because I didn't grow up in that environment. That was a fear of mine. I was like, shit, how am I gonna do it well? What do I do? I had to try and emulate what I thought a good husband would be.
Okay.
When I was about to have a child, same fear.
With the dad,
How am I going to be a good father? Who am I going to look up to? Where is the example? Do you know what I'm trying to say? So again, I'm having to create a picture of a good father in my head and try to live up to that. You know? Whereas what you said is actually the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Like if I'm going to go gym, I'm not just going to just start banging gym and weights and stuff and then eating horrible. I'm going to ask someone who's actually in shape and just emulate them. I'm not going to take advice from someone who's not in the shape I want to be in.
You want to be in,
And that's how not my whole life, but from a young age, I've been like, yeah, you lot, I don't really, like when I was growing up in my area, I was looking around, I was like, you lot aren't really the people that I want to be when I get older. So why am I going to take your advice about, you should do this, you should buy this? I'm like, nah, but you're having troubles with your baby mom and Dawson the market. I'm not trying to be that person.
You have to take it to Dawson. What did they ever do to you?
Like, you know, I'm not trying to have that issue, so I'm not trying to listen to you. But and also, can we define what energy actually means as well? Because I was thinking about it. When you asked me to actually come on a show, I was like, what is energy actually?
It's an aura. It's a feeling. It's like a vibe. I don't know how to explain it to you.
See, and I was thinking about it, and I was thinking energy is like, I feel like it's the mind, body, and soul's currency.
Yeah.
Because the same way how you can spend money, right, is how you can spend energy. How you can save, invest, and spend your energy. That's why you hear people say, when you hear people say, oh, I'm so tired, my mind's not even there right now, because their mind's energy is somewhere, right? Or I can't bother to do that because their body energy is into something. And I feel like we need to be careful with our energy as well, because one of the things that I had to learn later on is you can't give your energy to everyone.
Absolutely not.
No way, because you would reciprocate their energy and their energy will transfer to you, or you'll transfer your energy to them.
And it's not a fair exchange all the time.
It's never a fair exchange. That's why you come up, I'm on the phone to someone, he's telling me all these problems. Then I come off the phone, I'm down. I'm down.
Drained.
He's probably having the best time.
He's elated,
I believe and I think that's one of the things that I think masculine energy is as well, is understanding who you can and can't associate with and who you can and can't give your time to, because feminine energy is normally caring.
But on the same side of that coin, with feminine energy, you got to be really careful as well who you're letting in and taking energy from you. So I think it actually works the same for both masculine and feminine energy, because who I'm allowing into my space, for example, takes away from what else I can give to the next person. So it's kind of the same, to be honest.
Do you feel like you have to have a bit of both,
masculine and feminine energy? I think it depends. So like, and it depends on my environment. So like, if I'm at work, for example, my job is problem solving. To me, that's more of a masculine trait. You see what I mean? And you'll see me in a certain light within the workplace, right? when I go home, and again, now this depends on partners, let's say, when I go home, the ability to turn that off for me is wonderful.
Yeah.
Why do I want to be stressed and high strung and just all day? I don't want to be like that.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? When I'm at work, I love my job. I do what I need to do. But when I get home, I want to switch that off. But that,
What are you defining as feminine energy? Sorry.
what am I defining?
As the feminine energy.
More relaxed, more receiving, more like nurturing, more looking after, more homely, those kind of vibes. Yeah.
Cool.
Why'd you ask?
No, because I was just wondering if it was feminine energy as in the creative that we spoke about, creative collaborative side, or is it just actual feminine energy that we speak about in our culture, where it's like you said, submissive,
homely.
homely.
I think it's definitely what she's describing, because we're built differently, right? Earlier you asked for what is it men need, right?
Yeah.
Everything you just described is what we need. And you're built that way because you, if you believe in God and Christianity and whatever it is, right? Women are there to be supports
Nurturers.
to their husband, right? And when a kid comes, nurturing to the child, right? And you see that sometimes with that family unit. A man is out here hustling, grinding, whatever it is, to further the family.
Yeah.
And then you have a woman who has that feminine energy, who is supporting, who is uplifting.
Yeah.
I mean, she's saying to her guy, you go do what you need to do. I've got shit at home. You don't have to worry about this side of things. I've got that. Focus on what you need to. And then when you come home, I'm here to nurture you. I'm here to feed into you, rejuvenate you. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And that is ultimately what we need. Somebody who is going to give that. Because if we're out there all day fighting battles,
I can't fight a battle when I get home.
I do not want to fight any battles at home.
So you're saying you want peace when you come home, yeah? You don't want problems.
I don't want problems. Do you know what? Yeah, I'm a bit like silly, so sometimes I will disturb peace just for entertainment
sometimes
purposes.
you need a
I'm a
little
bit
bit of fun,
toxic like that. I'm not toxic. I'm toxic. but no,
with an accent on top.
Yeah, an accent, you know. But I'll do things that I know would not disturb black peace in a big way, but I'll do certain things just to
make
things interesting. But what he's saying is absolutely the truth. Like when we're fighting battles, sometimes, not even some, majority of time, I know a lot of men don't even give you like 80% of the battles we face when we leave the house and we come back. Then we come back and then you're grinding us about something that we don't even care about. Is ridiculous. Like it just doesn't make sense. And that is where I feel like a lot of relationships are now deteriorating, because there's not good communication between a man and woman.
When you're saying,
or an understanding of the roles.
Okay, because I was going to say, when you're saying you want to come home to peace because you don't want problems, what kind of peace are you looking for when you come home?
Is it
so like, what should we be telling the women out there who are trying to relax in their feminine energy? What should they what kind of takeaways would you give them? What would you say are the things that you're looking for when you're coming home?
And again, remember, we're speaking from a perspective of like the man is in his masculine energy.
Oh yeah.
We have to remember there's actually
there's a lot of men that are not.
I mean, I even interrupted my lip gloss, and you know how I feel about comments.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
I don't think I know a lot of men who aren't in their masculine energy.
Trust me, it's because you don't date them. So, trust me, it's because you don't date them. That's why. Because you know what? Yeah, everyone.
She said that with like PTSD on her face. She had the PTSD.